Joining us this morning, as I've been announcing for the last week or so, is Burt Cole. And Burt, how you doing?
All right. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Now you live down in Youngstown?
No, I live in the Garrettsville area, Portage County.
Okay.
Closer to Warren than Youngstown.
You have a signing coming. Did you do? Is it today or was it yesterday or?
Last night I was at the Conneaut Library summer reading program, but tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I'm at the Dash Farm Markets, which is at the corner of States Route 7 and 84.
Is that the Jackson, the Jackson girl that used to be Jackson girl?
Yes, Sarah Jackson,
Yeah,
Houston.
yeah. Is that what they call it, Dash?
Dash. It's for Dale and Sarah Houston.
Is that right? I never knew that.
That's the acronym.
I was going to go out there and see if they had any corn. They have really good sweet corn.
Yeah. It's at the former Coley Cole's Dairy Dream site.
Which would have been a relative of yours, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Coley, Clarence. Coley
Yeah.
is one of my cousins.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Well, actually, I think he was my bus driver. That might have been Art Cole, or one of the Coles.
Art Cole
There's
is
a
the bus
lot
driver.
of Coles around town.
Yeah.
Coley's wife, Leota, Honey Cole, was my bus driver
Is
when
that
I was
right?
in
Wow.
kindergarten.
Wow. What year did you graduate from Conneaut High School?
1978.
So you graduated with my wife, Michelle Saturday.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think she told me that when you were doing the signing out of Gracie's this spring, she said, I went to school with Burt. I go, well, let's go out and talk to him. But she was rather shy. She didn't come out. But she graduated in 78. Yeah. Wanted you to come on, Burt, because you have a couple books out that are very, very popular, children's books. And I want to talk to you about that, about your writing, how you did this stuff. The first book was?
First book was Bash and the Pirate Pig, which is this one. It came out September 1st of last year, so it's been out a whole 11 months already.
Wow.
This is all less than a year old.
I remember when it came out. And now, where did you get the inspiration for this?
From growing up with all those cousins of mine.
That's a big family.
Growing up in Monroe with all those cousins, I've worked a lot of the stories in. Some of these are out of my imagination. Some of these we actually did. I'm afraid to say which is which because my mom might still paddle me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, we have Conneaut Creek is in here. The bookmobile is in here. You know, we get Lake Erie. It's set in this area.
Yeah. Okay. Do you mention Conneaut other than the creek?
I mentioned Conneaut. The setting, I don't say it's in Conneaut proper, but then I grew up in Monroe, so we got a Conneaut mailing address, but we're really Monroe Township.
Yeah. Now we mentioned this. I think we mentioned it when we come back from the break with Burt. That Burt actually grew up, or was his homestead, the original homestead, was out at Gracie's greenhouse out there on Route 84. Which I didn't know until the day I ran into you at that book signing you were doing out there. And so, I mean, that's a beautiful piece of property. I mean, a nice wide open spaces. And did you get to go into the house and look at it again?
Not this time, but I did previously stop there and
Did it look the same to you?
Let me go. Oh, it was, there were some changes, and yet I was going through, it was just so much fun. It was like, well, now there's where I played Candyland with Gary and Paul Houston, and oh, now here's my bedroom up here. This is where, this is the bedroom where Mom and Dad read us stories at night. You know, and
yeah.
it was.
It's always fun to go back.
Oh yeah.
To where you kind of grew up, and it's amazing how you remember a lot of things.
I did notice too that the house had shrunk a lot. As did that huge circle driveway. It used to be this huge circle driveway with all this real estate in between the circle. It's like, wow, it's just a few steps across. Now.
Was that pond still there? Was the pond there?
The pond was not there at that point.
It wasn't.
The one that's.
I wonder if they put that in, the Gracie, you know, because that's a beautiful. She took me out there that day I was out there, and she was feeding the goldfish, and they were huge goldfish in that pond. So they probably manufactured that.
We would have moved from there 1964, 1965.
Really?
It's been a while.
That long, and then other people have lived there over the years.
I was in kindergarten when we moved, and
Where'd you go from there?
went to about what, 3 miles away. We're on Route 7, about a mile south of the intersection of Route 84, where the book signing tomorrow is.
Really?
So I
Big
basically
piece
grew
of
up a mile south of Coley Cole's Dairy Dream.
Big piece of property out there?
We had about 30 acres.
No kidding. That's so
It
neat.
was.
Yeah.
Dad called it a hobby farm. He didn't want it to be a hobby farm, but
Yeah.
he figured he had to actually make money before he could call it a working farm. So
Right,
it was
right.
a hobby farm.
Yeah. So, your second book just came out, correct?
Second book, Bash and the Chicken Coop Caper, came out May 1st.
Okay, this spring.
And this is based during the winter, and I loosely based it on the winter of '77.
Wow.
With all that snow.
Yeah.
In the very first chapter, I have the kids riding sleds off the roof of the chicken coop, which is something we did that winter. The drift was so high it came up to the roof of our chicken coop, and we took sleds up there and just headed on down the hill and across the
Wasn't that
drift
the year of the
yards.
big blizzard?
Yes.
The
Blizzard.
77.
77.
I remember that. Gosh, I can't believe it's been that many years ago. Yeah, so you would, of course, you would have probably been in 11th grade then, or around there.
Somewhere in, well, I graduated in '78, so yeah.
Probably 11th grade. That's amazing. That's amazing. And I think it's kind of neat that you bring back some of these great remembrances. Is the first book still selling, Burton? I mean, can you still get it? Or?
They are in bookstores. Both the first and the second book are still in bookstores. And I tell people, if you don't see it in your bookstore, don't just walk out. Ask for it.
Mhm.
I'm still considered a new author, and I
Right.
figured out that a lot of times the bookstores don't order in new authors unless people are asking for the book.
Mhm.
There are a number of bookstores I've noticed where it's in. It's kind of still surreal to walk into a bookstore and see my own book on the shelf.
know,
That's
really.
pretty cool.
It is. It is.
But there are others where, that if somebody will ask for it, they'll start ordering it in. And please do, please.
It's amazing, Bert. You know, I made the record, as Steve knows, in 1968, a recording. And to this day, 2014, it's still selling. It's garage band stuff. You know, it's not making me any money anymore because it's been so many years. But it's amazing what Bert just said. If people ask for it, somebody will find a copy somewhere, and you need to ask for that. Or you can also order online.
It's online.
Is it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
There are good reviews of it on Amazon.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the reviews.
Okay.
And it's the publisher is B&H Kids, which is the children's division of B&H Publishing, Lifeway Christian Resources.
Will you ever do, other than children's book, will you go into adult reading?
I am I am working on drafting a romance novel, just because it sounds like a silly idea to me. I wanted to do. I write humor. I write humor. I've been writing humor columns for 21 years now, and I wanted to write a romance from the guy's perspective, but lighthearted. So I've been working on that. I wanted to write mystery stories.
You can make big money from romance stories. There's a lot of money in that. What about these? Can you make big money?
I would like to. It's not happening yet. Don't ask me for a loan yet.
Well, you know, it's that is also a big market. Children's literature is a big market. Now you have another book there, Bert.
Kids don't read as much as they used to,
No.
and I would like to help bring that back. I loved reading. I read all the time. I was at the old Carnegie Conneaut Library in the basement where the kids' books were. I read all the Hardy Boy books they had on the shelf. I had to resort to start reading Nancy Drew books because I finished the Hardy Boy books. I was reading, all those kids' books. and I'd love to bring the kids to see the fun in reading again.
It bothers me that the reading is not like it used to be. Back in our day,
Too many
when,
other distractions,
yeah,
unfortunately.
we didn't have computers and stuff
Right.
back then, or iPods and all that.
And in these books, these are faith-based humor books. The kids are having all these crazy, wacky adventures out on the farm, like my cousins and I used to before video games were invented.
Yeah.
And the third book comes out 9 months from today, Bash and the Chocolate Milk Cows, and it is centered around April Fool's Day, and it is prank-filled, and I just I have a lot of fun with it. I think. I think that the kids are really going to enjoy that one, and the parents maybe not so much. Might be given some ideas here.
Yeah.
I was recalling
long
some
did
of the pranks we used to play.
How long does it take you to write a book of this nature?
I'm not really sure. The first one, of course, I've been playing around with that one for a long time before it ever got going. It might have been 4 years, 5 years that I was
Really?
doing off and on.
Yeah.
There was
Okay.
a lot of off and on.
So it's not like you wrote every day, like a certain time, like some authors write a certain
Some
time.
authors every time, but yes, I did write every day. I work at the Tribune Chronicle newspaper, and that was my job. If you wait until if you wait to find time to write, you never will. You have to make it. Right. So I get home at like 1:30, 2 in the morning, and I would sometimes sit there then from 2 to 3 a.m. just getting an hour of writing in. Now, once the publisher bought these and I had a contract, now I've got a deadline, and it's like, okay, now we go forward, and it's a lot easier to just hone in and keep going.
I'm one of these wannabe authors for years. My dream as a kid was to be retired at 32 or writing books at 32 and being a millionaire and all that stuff. That never happened, of course. But I found out working on a newspaper kind of drained me of my strength for writing after hours. I'd go home and I wanted to forget writing sentences.
It is difficult. It is difficult.
So I can
yes.
understand what you're saying exactly.
It's like, this is my real job. I just did it for 8, 10, 12 hours.
Right.
Then come home and start. It's a different kind of writing, yes, but...
I remember my teacher, I don't think you would have had her in school, Miss Mosley, told me that I would never be a successful writer because I lacked the discipline. She goes, you need to have a lot of discipline to keep yourself focused. And she was exactly right now that I look back at what she had told me. Now, Burt and I actually go back a long time. He used to be a County High School correspondent with, was it Tom Brundage?
Tom Brundage.
And they would write a column, which I was one too back in '64. Sue Van Slyke and I were high school correspondents. That got me interested in the newspaper business. But back in the '70s, Burt actually wrote this column. Now, I didn't really edit your stuff because I think a gal by the name of Gail Deal
Yes.
probably handled that end of it. She was the city editor at the time.
Yes, Gail handled.
And every week, I believe it was, you would have a column, and you actually have a couple samples. Of,
I found out in my scrapbook. I have a couple of them here that Tom and I had done. These are both dated 1978.
and you were a senior. Hey,
When I was a
Andy,
senior.
can you zoom in on this picture? I got to show you a picture of Burt Cole at the age of what, 17, maybe 18.
18.
Yeah.
18.
To be on the right hand side of me. There he is with those semi sunglass.
Oh yeah, they were the ones that the photo grades that darkened.
Yeah,
with
so the
light.
flash probably went off. And
So the flash went off, and it looked like I was wearing sunglasses.
Yeah, no, there's the gentleman as a young man, and then next to him is Tom Brundage, who went on to work for Hallmark Cards.
He was an artist for Hallmark Cards for about 35 years, I believe. I'm not exactly sure how long, but that was also a kick. I'd get to go into the stores and find my buddy Tom's artwork up there on the shelves.
Could you identify it, or was his name on it, or?
At the beginning, I could definitely identify. I recognized Tom's style.
Yeah.
It got harder for me as he continued to just get better and just more amazing all the time.
Was he an artist in school?
Yes, he was. He was. That was his thing. Was the artwork. Mine was the writing. Now we were on the newspaper staff. He was actually the editor, and I was the. What was the title? I forget the title that Mr. Ott, Charles Ott, gave me for that, but I was Tom's second in command. So Tom was the editor-in-chief. I was the other guy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't even know if they have journalism classes anymore here. I don't know.
That'd be sad.
Yeah, it would be. I'd have to check. Excuse me, check into that. Have you kept in touch with Tom?
I do. Not it's not as frequent as I would like. He's still in Kansas City area.
Is that where he's at now?
So email's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to send cassette tapes back and forth. Just we would record our letters to each other, and we would write. Now it's the occasional email, and I just don't do it enough.
Yeah.
It's like all this writing, and I'm not keeping up with it.
Well, that happens. Facebook kind of brings you together now too, where you can keep in contact with a lot of your friends.
Yes, his wife Patty has a Facebook page, and Tom and I managed to slip messages back and forth that way.
I was going to ask you, what about your family? You have family that lives with you down in Portage County, or?
Most of my family is still here in the Conneaut area.
Okay.
Mom and Dad are in Greenville, Pennsylvania.
Greenville. My mom's from Greenville, Pennsylvania.
And my brother Dan lives on the farm that I grew up on, where these adventures are loosely based from that farm.
Yeah, yeah.
And my brother Tim is in Conneaut, in the city where my grandmother lived, and my sister Martha is also here in town.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm an hour or so away. Kind of out of the way, get to stay out of trouble. I can't help them lift heavy things because I'm too far away.
Do you? You can't make them. You make moving things. Like tonight, will you go back home, or will you stay overnight here to go to your signing tomorrow?
I will go back home because tonight I am putting the newspaper to bed at the Tribune Chronicle. So I have to work tonight. I will be working from about 5 till about 1:32 in the morning.
Get a little shut eye, and then
then I'll sleep real fast, and then I will be at the former Coley Cole site by 11. I'm hoping to be there a little sooner.
Will you be able to do? I mean, can you relax after a deadline like that? I mean,
I have to wind down.
I know.
I know that some people can just go home and drop.
See, I can't do that.
I will sit up for about an hour and read.
At least, yeah. Burt, I haven't been in the newspaper business for 10 years. I got out in 2004, but I still have dreams. I don't know, and you probably have them too when you get out of it, but I still have dreams. I missed a deadline, or the press is broken down, and it's like, I think I'm still there, and I still dream about the people I worked with. A lot of the people I worked with.
Your dreams are my living nightmares right now. When the press does break down and when the deadlines are missed.
Do you lay out pages?
I do very little of that. I am the assistant metro editor. I'm basically the night editor. I'm reading all the local copy. I'm quarterbacking the reporters. I'm reading the copy. I'm getting it over to the copy desk where it is laid out.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I proof the pages.
See, we didn't have that luxury at the Hometown News or the Courier because it was a one-man operation.
Yeah, you did everything.
I was laying out the ads and everything else.
Yeah, I used to lay out pages, yes. It's not my strong suit, but it was fun. I enjoyed doing it when I was able to do it, and every now and then I still get to.
Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. This is Steph Gildone.
Hi, Steffi.
Hi. I just wanted to say good morning to Burton and thank him so much for being at our big finale family picnic last night. He added so much to the festivities, and I told him I'd be watching this morning, and I stayed home a little I'm going to go to work a little late so I could stay home and watch you on TV. So thanks
Oh.
again, Burton, for coming.
Thank you, Steffi.
Thank you. That was a lot of fun last night, and after I was done with my short presentation, because I like to talk to kids about writing and encourage them to write and talk about it because it's fun and I loved it. But after me, they had mad scientists following, and so they got to watch things get blown up. So it was great.
Yeah, that was a little scary with the fire thing and the big boom thing they did there. That little girl did a good job up there. I thought, holy cow, she was being very brave.
Yeah.
So,
I'd love to get into schools.
I just wanted to give a shout out and say thanks so much for coming, Burton, and love your books, so keep writing them.
Oh, I sure want to.
Thanks, Steph.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our good buddy Stephanie Gildone, of course, with one of the library girls,
Right.
as we call them. Now, you have another signing coming up in August.
August
We're in
8th.
August now.
Yes. Yeah, we are. Oh, my goodness, yes. This is August 1st, so 9 months from today, this book comes out on May 1st, 2015. August 18th, 6 p.m. at the Ashtabula Public Library, I'm doing an author talk. It's they have Third Monday's Authors series,
Okay.
and I am the series this month, and I will be talking to young writers and old writers and in-between writers about the craft and the fun and the joy of writing, and answering questions they have, and yes, I'll have books to sign. That's what, 6 to 8 p.m. I believe.
And I want to stress, too, that if you don't have a book, you can get them at your
I
signing.
will have them. I will have them.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting stuff. Any other appearances coming up?
I don't have any others confirmed at this point, but I'm open.
I don't know how you do it. I mean, your schedule for this weekend is outrageous. I mean, you have to go back to work tonight,
Go to work tonight,
tomorrow night,
tomorrow night.
and lay out the Sunday paper. And then, do you have Monday off then?
No, I will be working Monday now. I'll have Sunday off, which is a church day, so and I'm the song leader, and so I will be both morning and evening services.
Yeah.
I'll be quite busy then.
Are you on a 5-day schedule normally?
5 days at the Tribune Chronicle in Warren. Yes, 5 days. Not always the same 5 days.
Yeah,
It varies, as you probably remember.
Yeah.
At least I now have mostly consistent hours of mostly 4:30 in the afternoon till 1 or 1:30 in the morning.
Right. Of course, you can always read Burt's columns. They are in the Star Beacon.
They are in the Star Beacon on Fridays, which there should be one in there today.
There is.
And they appear in the Tribune Chronicle on Sundays. And so they're there, and that's my therapy.
When you started out, were you a beat writer for the Beacon? Is that where you started?
I started at the Star Beacon in 1982 as the cops reporter.
Yep. Yeah.
And that seemed to be the starting.
Where'd you go to college, Burt?
Went to Kent State University. I was the first year at the Ashtabula campus, and
So
then
was I, yeah.
and then I went down to the campus in Kent. Graduated in 1982, and
Right off the chute, you went to the Beacon, right?
right out the chute, I went to the big time, to the Star Beacon in Ashtabula.
Which was a big newspaper at the time.
And I served 2 tours of duty at the Star Beacon.
2, yeah.
I was at the Star Beacon. I went to the Record Courier in Ravenna. I went to the Herald and Review in Decatur, Illinois. I eventually came back to the Star Beacon.
Did you?
And then
I didn't realize that.
I had a second 3 years at the Star Beacon, and then 18 years ago I went down to the Tribune Chronicle in Warren, and I've been stuck ever since.
Ever since then.
And so I'm still there, and
Yeah.
now I write books. And
When do you think this romance novel will be coming out?
Yeah, that
Well,
intrigues me.
I don't know. I'm just kind of playing around, getting my notes together on it. I don't have a contract. I haven't drafted it yet. I haven't sent it to my agent.
You do have an agent.
I do
obviously.
have an agent. His name is Terry Burns.
Mm-hmm.
He's in Texas, and
Was it hard getting an agent?
it is difficult, especially for starting writers. There aren't that many agents that seem to want to take a new writer. They want a writer that has a proven track record.
Right.
But you can't get the proven track record until
You get the break.
you get the break. And so I was in I had joined American Christian Fiction Writers and was in a critique group. We had a small group for our middle grades readers, or middle grade stories. And two of my critique members were going to the American Christian Fiction Writers Conference that year in St. Louis. And they were so excited about the Bash and the Pirate Pig project that they took a one-page sell sheet, and they had heard of this guy named Terry Burns who works with new authors. They tracked him down, they stuck this paper under his nose, he looked at it and said, "Sounds interesting, have him send me a proposal." I sent a proposal, he asked to see the whole manuscript. I sent the manuscript.
Was it done?
He signed.
Was it done prior?
At that point it was done because I had been working with the group, and we had worked with it. I went through I did 8 drafts of that book, that first book,
Before he even got it?
before he even got it.
How about afterwards? Was there any rewrites there?
Oh, about 3 more drafts after
No
that.
kidding. There's a lot of work behind
There's
it.
a
There
lot.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah, the publisher bought it, said, "This looks great. Okay, now let's fix it." You know.
There was an author that was from Conneaut, and I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He was from Conneaut, and he wrote Western paperback novels, and he was quite well known throughout the country in the Western circles. He's passed away now. I'm gonna have to look up his name. But anyway, he lived up in I think in the Washington State area, and I sent him one of my proposed novels to see what he thought of it. He tore it apart because he goes, "You write like a newspaper man." He says, "You have to get out of that vein and start making your sentences a little more flowery." And so he sent me back a chapter of how he would have written it. It wasn't even close. I mean, I kind of lost interest in writing books at that point because, you know, we were taught to keep your sentences bang, 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 and he had the flow. He was a former newspaperman, but he learned how to make those sentences flow.
Did you find the same?
I did.
Situation.
I tell people now I've had to learn to be bilingual
Yeah.
because there's newspaper writing, there's novel writing, and it is different. I started with the first book, and I had this idea that it was going to be just a collection of short stories, extended versions of my column, essentially, before it actually became a novel. And that's kind of what it sounded like. They sounded like newspaper columns,
I understand
and they
that.
had to be put into a novel form. And yes, the sentence structure is different. The tagging, the attribution is different. There are action beats. It's a different animal.
It is. It really,
Even the
truly
style book is different. The AP,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did everything according to the Associated Press style book,
is. Yep.
and now I had to learn the Chicago Manual of Style,
Mm-hmm.
which does commas differently. Some of the words are different. Yeah, it's different.
Do you find, of course, when you first started in the newspaper business, computers were just coming out probably. When I started, I was so happy with the Royal typewriter that I didn't want to give it up. And now, of course, we have computers. We can write a lot quicker on them and see what we've done and proofread and all that sort of stuff. What's your thoughts about the computer age and as far as I mean, people are reading books on the computer now, and that's kind of taken away from what I like to hold a book. You know what I'm saying? What's your thoughts?
I'm old school like that too. I like to have the book in my hands.
As a
These-
newspaper, you know.
Same with the newspaper. But I am online more often. I am looking stories up. I'm reading articles out of other newspapers. I actually have some books downloaded onto my laptop. I haven't read them on my computer because I prefer to have the book. These books are for sale as ebooks. I've downloaded. I bought my own ebook of the first one. I have it on my I have it on my phone. I can't believe that. I have a cell phone that I have a book on. I can read my book on the phone.
I'll be darned.
Technology.
You know, this is strange for me.
Is that how you work it? You have to buy the book over the online, right? Is that how that works? I've never done that before.
You would buy, yes, you can buy them online, the e version. You can go to the publisher, you can go to Amazon, these
That's
places.
amazing.
Kindle.
Kindle.
And you just
Yeah.
push a couple buttons, you download it, it's charged to your account, and
Well, I'm like you, and I'm sure Pat too. I like to see it in my hand. I want the book in my hand. I want the newspaper in my hand.
I like to feel it, you know. I like to open it and
Smell it.
yeah, smell it, and you know, you go through the pages, and
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
Yeah,
Me
yeah. See, you know, like the Plain Dealer has gone down to 4 papers a week, and I end up going to the store to buy my copy of a paper that is paper
Right.
thin now
Right, for $1.
for $1. And Michelle goes, "Why do you do that?" And I go, "Because I want to read the paper. I don't like sitting in a computer reading the thing. I want to hold the
Or on a
paper in my
pad,
hand,
yeah.
or in a pad." The same with books. I want to hold the book and read it, and like you say, Bert,
We're old school.
That's what we are. We are old school.
But I'm learning. I'm adapting. I am.
You
My
have
wife
to.
is my
Yeah,
wife
you
is
have
starting
to.
to laugh now because I was so resistant to getting a phone and to getting a smartphone. Now I have a smartphone, and she'll catch me sitting in there
Yeah.
in the living room, just kind of going down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and she's like, "They've got you. They've got you."
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was meant to
Forced.
ask you, do you have any children?
Yes. My daughter Melissa is 28. She'll be 20.
Wow.
And how did that happen? I'm not sure.
It was like quick.
And
Yeah.
and my son, I had a son, Josh, who was born with multiple disabilities. He was given about 4 months to live. He was almost 10 years old when he died.
Is that right? I'm sorry, you didn't know that.
1998,
Oh,
and
no.
so yeah, I still miss my little Joshy,
Yeah,
my little
sure you
buddy,
do. Sure you do.
and my wife and I also have my wife Terry and I also have Jeremy, who's 30, and he has been a Navy corpsman. He's in reserve now, but he's working out of country, and so yeah, we have kids. I
Yeah.
have a grandson. I have a
Do you
5-year-old
really?
grandson named Sebastian.
Wow, wow.
And-
I got to ask you this: do you live on a farm?
I do not anymore. It is kind of strange. When I was growing up on that farm, and it was a small farm, we never had more than 2 cows milking at once, and we milked them by hand.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teenager, I got so tired of having my entire life regulated by milking time. Well, we can't stay. I got to go home and milk the cows. Well, I'd love to do that, but I got to milk the cows.
A lot of work on a farm.
And it's like I couldn't wait to leave. Well, we kind of keep looking at little properties like, yeah, we could have some cows if we bought this place. Yeah, we could have some animals here.
Yep.
I do live out in a rural area, but it's about 3/4 of an acre.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had some neighborhood ducks that used to come over. The guy across the road has chickens.
So you still have some animals around.
Yeah, there's some horses just down the road, and
I'm kind of like that. I couldn't live on a farm. I couldn't work a farm. I certainly wasn't. But I did have a grandparent that my mother's side kind of had. You know, he raised chickens and stuff. We had to do the cutting off the heads on Saturday mornings and all that sort of stuff. And it wasn't my cup of tea.
Basically, you're a city boy.
Yeah.
You're a city boy.
Yeah.
Me too.
Bert, so good. I'm so glad we teamed up here. I hope you can come back sometime. And
oh,
meet
that'd be
with us
fun.
Again. Again, you can get these books. Actually, you can get them tomorrow if you go out to the signing at Dash Farm.
We hardly talked about anything going on. In the one book, I have the kids riding the cows to a dairy drive-through because the Bash character thought Bash thought that'd be awfully fun to ride dairy cows through the dairy drive-through, and that was loosely based on Coley Cole's dairy during stand on the stand, which was there when I was a kid, and I worked at it, and that's where the signing is tomorrow. So it's kind of a bit of the history there, but yeah, just a lot of these crazy things. I have the kids baling the hay and the load toppling and them riding the hay down, which happened.
It's good memories.
And you know, if I've got the Ashtabula County Fair, the cow dragging a kid through the fairgrounds, which happened to me. My cow was taking me right down the midway.
So you were one of those kids that showed off the animals.
I was in 4-H for 9 years. I showed Jersey dairy cows.
Monroe people used to be in 4-H and that.
Yeah, that's right.
What's that other book that you have there?
A buddy of mine, Randy Keeling, wanted to write his life story, so I helped him do his life story, which is just incredible. This is a guy who grew up in a Christian home, or at least that's what it appeared on the outside, and he just rebelled. He went off. He walked out on his wife and kids. You know, he was in the rescue services, the ambulance. There's a lot of great fire and rescue stories in here, blood and guts. He saw a lot, and there was the one night that he was just determined to take his own life, and he couldn't pull the trigger. And as the title says, it's the prodigal's U-turn to redemption, restoration, and ministry. He's now been, the Keelings, Randy Keeling, and the Keelings have just celebrated, is it their 20th or 25th anniversary as a family singing group. They're from Hadley, Pennsylvania. They're around here a lot. And he's now pastoring a church in Copperton, Pennsylvania. It's an amazing story full of action and drama. And Randy and I think it was about 20 years we worked on this off and on. He had the idea. We talked about it a long time ago, and then it sat for years. And the story just kept getting better.
Has it sold? Has it been selling?
I think it has. It's been selling on Randy's website. I don't know if this one is in stores. I think it might be just with Randy on the thekeelings.org.
Okay.
And if you go to Keeling's concerts, he has them. And I have a few copies myself. I'll have that with me tomorrow too.
Okay.
An amazing story.
It's called Long Road. Is that
The Long Road?
The Long Road.
Randy Keeling, written by Randy Keeling. Is that your name's on there too?
Yes, I see Randy Keeling in big red letters, and then right down here with Burton W. Cole.
Kind of a whisper.
I'm on there. I helped him. I recommend that. That's
The Long Road.
That's
Check
just
that
an
out tomorrow,
amazing.
too. And don't forget, Ashtabula Public Library, August 18th, 6 o'clock, I believe it is.
6 o'clock.
Burton will be there if you want to go out there. Tomorrow is a good day to go out and see Burton out at Route 84 and 7, the old Coley Cole's ice cream.
Coley Cole's Dairy Dream. We served ice cream and the Coley Burger. And
we used to go out there when we were kids.
I worked there for a summer or so, and it's my old neighborhood. It's about a mile from where I did the growing up in Monroe Township.
I always liked Monroe Township. It's just so nice and rural. It's just nice.
It's a great place. Yes, I'm so glad that's where.
If I come out for sweet corn, I might run into you tomorrow. What time do you start?
You know, I don't know what time they start out there. I know they start a lot earlier than I'm going to be there.
What's your time?
My time is 11 to 1. I'm hoping to get out there a little bit sooner, but as we stated, I got up early to come here, and I'm going to be working until about 1, 2 in the morning.
He was actually an hour early when he came in here.
Yes.
He was on time. He made his deadline.
My wife will be propping me up in the chair. She might be holding my arm just to sign the books. No, we'll be there by 11, and we'll be 11 to 1. I'll try to be there earlier, and I'll stay later.
What I'm gonna do,
They'll be
I'm,
there all. They'll be there all day, I believe.
I'm gonna have Andy make you a DVD up. I'll send it to you, and that way you can watch your performance. Which we held you overtime here this morning, but it's been so much fun.
Ooh, overtime. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, overtime.
Wow,
thank
we
you.
didn't even get to everything. Wow,
I
it's
know.
like the time goes by so fast.
That's why you got to come back.
That's right.
I brought my first novel. I wrote this in 4th grade.
Oh, wow.
Vanish the Killer Whale. I wrote this in 4th grade for Mrs. Kaufman, and
I wrote a whale
We're
story
all
when I was in the
understood.
4th grade. The Sea Beast. I wrote.
Really?
Yeah, I made that up. 4th grade must have been the year.
Next time you're here,
this
we'll
was
talk
great.
about it.
Yeah, I think I did this in 1970, and about 3 years later, Peter Benchley came out with a story called Jaws. It sounds a lot like this one. I'm going to go on record. This
I
was
think
first.
he stole it from you. He stole it from
Peter
you.
I
must
think there's a lawsuit in the works.
Thank you so much, Bert. Great talking to you and seeing you.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
Fun.
please come back and see us.
All
Okay?
right.
All
I'd
right.
love to.